Yeah, it's recording.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the delay. You know how we have technical difficulties, and yeah, I don't know if Hema will still be hearing us, but hopefully she will join us soon. So I hope everyone is in the best of health, and you all have been taking the vitamins and stuff, and you're not enjoying too much of time away from class. Although I know that you all are. So I have some things that I need to discuss today with you all. First of all, we had homework to do. And basically it wouldn't just be me just talking to us a screen and you're just listening to my voice. Probably momentarily you'll see me. So that y'all don't fall asleep by just hearing my voice alone. So I have a couple things to discuss with you all. With regards to the homework, first of all. I know that you are supposed to submit your. Wait, this is a chat from who? Emma. So I know that first of all, you all was supposed to bring your homework to class today, right? So you all had two homework exercises to do for me. The first one was that you all had to write the newspaper report. Is everybody seeing my screen? If you're not seeing my screen, please let me know. But everybody should be seeing my screen, and as I change it and so on. So you all had two different homework exercises to me. The first one, you all had to write the newspaper report about a burglary in your school, which resulted in the loss of expensive electronic equipment. And everyone's report is supposed to be between 200 to 250 words. And the second one was about the floor manager at the supermarket. So what I want for you all to do, I know it says in the bottom there that you all were supposed to write it on fuller pages to submit next class. But I know that you all have seen what's been taking place in the country with regards to the coronavirus and stuff, and us not having contact classes. So what I want from each and every one of you all is that I want you all to type up these both reports on a Microsoft Word document and email it to me as soon as possible. So maybe by the end of this class or by tomorrow morning, because I know you all actually have to type it over because you all wrote it. I got emails so far from Sanjay, from Denzel, and from Ravi. So I will respond to you all. But the rest of you all who actually hand wrote it because you thought that we were having class today, could you all please just type it up on a Microsoft Word document and email it to me no later than tomorrow so that I can correct the homework for this week. And even the homework that I'll be giving you all today, I want you all to type it up as well on a Microsoft Word document and email it to me. And by now, everybody should have my email address. If you don't, just send a message in the group afterwards, and I will resend my email address to you all. So we'll go through the homework later on, and I know that I did say I wanted to go through the midterm exam as well. For some of you all, I still have your papers at home. Those of you who weren't in class last week, I still have your papers. But when we do get the green light to come back to class, you'll get back your papers, right? But I do want to go through the midterm paper as well. So I'll leave that for the maybe towards the end of class. So if you don't have the midterm paper now, I'll be giving you a 15-minute break as usual. So during the break, you could go and get your papers, and we'll be able to go through that afterwards as well. So far y'all heard about the homework assignment that was due today. I want you all to type it up on a Microsoft Word document and email it to me no later than tomorrow. And also during the break, I want everybody to run and get their midterm papers so that we could go through that as well. So today we'll be looking at the latter part. Yes, today we'll be looking at the latter part of expository writing. So you will see that I labeled this expository writing because this is the type of writing that that it falls under. So we know paper 2 has the summary writing in section A, section C has the short story writing, and section D has the, who is this? What? Are you all hearing me? Why am I seeing this? What is going on here?
Hi, I am hearing, but it will be breaking up sometimes.
You all hearing me?
Yeah, miss, you hearing you loud and clear.
Okay,
Yes, miss, I hearing you.
okay,
Yeah,
no
miss,
problem.
yeah.
Just making sure. Right. So we all know for paper 2, we have section A, the summary, then we have section C, the short story, and section D, the argumentative essay. So section B falls under the category of expository writing. That's why you will see here that I had expository writing as the heading. So far for expository writing, under that section, we would have completed the letter writing, which we did at the very beginning. Then we went on to look at the different types of report. So that falls under expository writing. And these last 4 things that I'll be covering today, this is basically the end of expository writing, which would mean this is the end of section 2. But I'll be giving you a practice so that you'll be able to do this on your own as well. And after this, we have one more type of writing to explore, which will be section C, the short story. So today we'll be looking at expository writing. We'll be starting with a notice. So this section, section B, what you all should have recognized by now is that this section is directed for you all to basically recount facts and present information for a more formal setting. So in terms of like the world of work and even in school. So for those of you who are in secondary school, maybe at some point in time you had to put up a notice somewhere. And for those of us who are in the world of work, we would have somehow seen a notice somewhere around the workplace. So if you are called upon to present a notice or to make up your own notice, these are the guidelines that you would have to follow, right? And the notice question was actually in this January's paper, where they gave a question and they asked for you all to create a notice. So it's more than likely it's not going to come again in May, because they haven't been repeating the stuff that they've done so far because of how the section is relatively new. But we still need to know what is a notice in the event that they decide to just repeat the notice again. So what is a notice? If you'll have any questions, feel free to just unmute your mic and just talk, because it's very difficult for me to navigate through the chat. And if you'll raise your hand, right? So once I'm talking and you all have a question, just unmute your mic one time and say, excuse me, miss, just as if we're in class, right? So don't feel as though, you have to do the option where you have to raise your hand and then talk to me, right? You can just unmute your mic one time and say, okay, miss, pause for a minute. I just need to explain this to me. So as I'm speaking and you'll have a question, just unmute your mic one time and just say, excuse me, miss. So what is a notice? A notice generally is a displayed sheet or placard giving news or information. So we would have seen notices in the form of like flyers or papers. That's why they said displayed sheet or placard. So you would have seen, like, for instance, when there are walkathons or marathons, you would have seen people with placards even in a protest, because it just gives you information or even general news. It is a written or printed piece of information or news. So they said written because in for your CSEC exam, you would actually have to write the notice. But it could be printed as well, because some of us, we actually type the notice and print it and place it somewhere. So it is written to inform people or students, so in a school, for instance, about an activity or an event, and is only meant for a specific group of individuals. So this is very important, because the question that they brought this year for January, it was about a notice for a school. So you could either give a notice to a specific group of people, that's why they said a specific group of individuals, or the notice could be for an actual school. Like, for instance, in school, if you're having a sale, if school is closing early and you have to notify parents, that would be the purpose of the notice. So that's generally a notice in a nutshell. So the purpose of a notice is a formal means of communication. So it is formal, because informal would just be like, if you talk to somebody and you say, hey, we're having this school closing early today, but it's formal because it is communicated in a formal manner. It is written in standard English as well, which is what is expected of you for this section B of the paper. So it says the purpose of a notice is to announce or display information to a specific group of people. So remember, for a notice, you always have a target audience, right? And you need to know who your audience is when you're talking to them. So notices are generally meant to be pinned up on a specific display board. So you'll see them on the notice boards, whether in schools, so for example, the notice board, or in public spaces. So like if you go to the supermarket, you may see a notice about, the office, about the hours being extended or closing early. Notices can be used to inform, so to give information, to congratulate. So for instance, in school, if someone got a scholarship or they did pretty well in their school, maybe they would acknowledge this achievement on the notice board to highlight, to promote an event. So like if there's a party, a function, you would see it being promoted on a notice board. To warn, so for instance, like how we have the coronavirus right now, maybe you'll see notices all over the place warning people, telling them of the proper ways to wash your hands and so on. Even to remind you all, like if there's an important event coming up, even to make a request or lost and found. So lost and found is very common too. You see this in the workplace and even in school, they have notice about the lost and found so that you'll be aware of the items that were found. And if you lose them, you'll be able to contact them as well. So the structure of the notice is very, very important. And this is exactly what you all have to pay particular attention to because this is what you have to memorize for your exam. So a notice should be written in the following format. So remember, when I give you all the formats, and I actually, yes, Lyndon, you raised your hand.
Marissa, so I am here with you, right? However, I have to be back and forth with biology as well. So just in case the class ends at the 40-minute threshold, the video would automatically save to your laptop, and you would just start back the call, okay? The class, okay?
If it ends at 40 minutes, just save it to my laptop and start back the call?
It would automatically save. So just start back the class right after it ends.
Like the whole login process again?
No. Just click start.
Okay, no problem.
All right, thanks. Sorry about that, guys.
You're welcome. That's okay. Right, so resuming to the structure of the notice. For the structure of the notice now, what I want you all to pay particular attention to is that even for the letter and for the reports, when the structure is listed, the order in which the options are is the order in which you're required to put the specific information. So like for letter writing, I would have told you all, okay, this comes first, this comes second, third, fourth, and whatnot. Even in argumentative writing, when I give you all the format of the paragraph, exactly the order in which I give is the order in which the details or the information must be presented. So for instance, now when it says the structure of the notice, so it should be written in this format. So exactly in this order is how it should be written. Nothing should come out of this order. So for instance, the title of the notice shouldn't come first before the name of the organization. So everything must come in this order. So try your best to be creative. You could even come up with a creative means of remembering the order. So like when we were doing argumentative writing, you could come up with like an acronym to make you all, for it to be a lot easier for you all to remember the format or the order in which you notice the information must go. So the very
Miss, I
first
have a
thing.
question. I have a question.
Yes,
So the summary writing, it's coming for sure. The short story coming for sure, but this part, you're not sure what coming.
Right. So section A, summary is coming for sure. Section C, one short story is coming for sure. Section D, one argumentative essay is coming for sure. But section B is the section that is open to anything. So in section B, you could either
B, you
get...
could do the report too?
Pardon?
Section B, it have the reports in it too?
Yeah, so for section B, they could either bring a letter, a report, a notice, an email, a memorandum, or minutes.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you have to learn everything, because section B is the only section that we don't know what's going to come.
Okay, understand.
Cool. Right, so for the structure of the notice, the very first thing you have to put is the name of the organization issuing the notice. That's the very first thing you have to put. So for instance, if you are asked to present, if you're working at CTS college and you're asked to, to create a notice for students, the very first thing that you should write is the name of the organization, which should be CTS college. The second thing that you must have is the title notice. So you're not creating your own title. The exact title we want to see is notice. We must see that word notice. So after you put the name of the organization, then you put the actual word notice. Then the third thing you have to put is a heading to introduce the subject of the notice. So we have been practicing subjects. So like in letter writing, you have to put like the subject to the letter. Even for the report, you have to make up your own subject. So after you put the name of the organization and the title of the notice, then you introduce the subject of the notice. Yes, Sanjay, raise your hand. Sanjay. Andre, do you have a question? You can unmute your mic and ask the question. Okay. So they hadn't to introduce the subject. So basically, whatever the notice is about in a nutshell, you have to create a subject for it. So for example, if the notice is coming from CTS College and is making students aware of, that maybe there would be office closure on a particular date, or the office is being closed early on a particular date, so we have new hours for the office, then maybe the subject of the notice could be change in office hours. That could be the subject. Or if CTS is having like a fundraiser and stuff, and you want to notify students, maybe if they're having a barbecue, the subject of could be barbecue sale at CTS College. So your subject has to be directly related to the main idea of the notice, so what the notice is essentially about. The next thing you must have is the date. And one thing I don't want you all to do, because I've seen this in the letter writing, is that you all like to write the shorthand date. I don't want you all to write the shorthand date. I want you all to write the actual date. You know, the long date. So like for instance, today's the 16th of March. I want you all to actually write Monday, the 16th of March, 2020. I don't want you all to write the shorthand date, because shorthand is seemed as informal. And remember, the letter writing is formal. I'm sorry, not the letter writing. The expository writing is formal. So I need to see the actual long date, the Monday, the date of the day of the week, the number in the month, and the year. So no shorthand date, I want the actual long date. Then the body of the notice, well, for this section, as I said, they don't specify a word limit, but we know that a good word limit, if you want to get the 30 marks, a good number of words to write would be between 200 and 250 words, right? So although in the instructions, they don't specify a word limit, we know that for section B, whatever we write, be it a letter, be it a report, be it a notice, email, memorandum, minutes, whatever we write in section B, they're not going to give us a word limit like the other sections. They will just tell us to write something. But we know to use our discretion, and that the word limit should be between 200 to 250 words. I don't want anybody writing below 200 words, and I don't want anybody exceeding the 250 words. Everybody must write between 200 to 250 words. So this is where the body of the notice comes in. So as you all have seen in the midterm exam, when I gave you all the letter writing question, the questions are very, very detailed. The questions are extremely long. It's a lot to read because the question has a lot of information in it. So in the body of the notice, this is where you're going to look at your question. You're going to look at all the important details and information that are listed in the question. And here is where you have to actually elaborate on them in the body of the notice. So like for some instances, a notice can be very short. It could just be one paragraph, but depending on what is asked of you, the notice could be 2 paragraphs or even 3 paragraphs, right? If it's very lengthy. But the notice are generally short, as you would see in the example when we go further down, right? But notices, depending on the type of notice, it will be 1 paragraph or even 2 paragraphs. So that will be the body of the notice. And one thing I want you all to remember is that whenever you are writing, be it an essay, a notice, a summary, you must always have your transitional words in there. And I did give you all the handouts at the very beginning of argumentative writing and summary writing with the transitional words. So just try to memorize a couple of transitional words and just use those transitional words in your notice as well. Whenever you're writing anything at all, even in the workplace, if you're asked to write 3 lines or even say something, always try to practice using your transitional words, because it shows that you have a really good grasp of the English language and you're able to present your ideas and for it to flow smoothly into one another. So always use your transitional words. And then in the end of the notice, what I must always see is the writer's signature. So put your signature first. So there will be 3 lines at the very end, so the closing. You must have your signature first. Then the second line, you must put your name, but your name has to be in block letters. So block letters meaning capital letters, all capital letters, because sometimes your signature is really hard to comprehend. Some people don't understand what you write in your signature, so you have to always include your name in block letters in the bottom. and then the designation. So for instance, remember you're giving them a notice, but they have to know, okay, if they're responding to the notice, where they're responding to. So this will be the designation. Anybody have any questions so far before we move on to an example for you all to see how the notice should be done?
Yes, your designation is what? Your workplace?
If the notice is?
Your designation, that's where you're working on.
Yes, the designation would be if they have to respond to the notice, where they're going to send it to. That's the designation.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Hi, Miss.
Yes.
In terms of the signature, right? After you put your signature, you have to skip a line and then put it in block letters, or?
No, you don't skip a line. You just put it right after.
Okay, thanks.
Y'all have any other questions? No? Okay, so let's look at a sample notice. Well, this is basically what I was saying in a nutshell, right? Somebody said something. Miss, my mic broke. Oh. So basically what I was explaining in the notice for you all, this is like a diagram for you all to see how it should be. And I have these things like in the center of the screen and even at the left-hand side of the screen so that you all would see exactly what goes where in terms of layout. So this layout is for if you're typing, and the layout also goes for if you are writing. So the first thing that goes to the very center of the page is the name of the organization or the office issuing the notice. So that goes front and center. Then you have your date to the extreme left, which will be, of course, written out with the entire words. You're not going to give me the shorthand date. Then in the very middle, you're going to have the word notice. So the word notice itself must be there. Then below the word notice, you must have a heading. So this will be like a subject of the notice. So whatever the subject is, you're going to give your notice a heading. And then the body of the notice, well, this is the body of the letter here, but then the body of the notice comes right after. And one thing to remember about section, yes, Denzel?
Because I've seen date and notice in the same line.
Mm-hmm.
One not coming before the other, it's going just like that.
Yeah, when I reach down to here, you will see how I want it done. But yeah, it goes in the same line, basically.
Oh, okay.
So for your body of the letter, which is the body of the notice, what I want you all to know about section B, so the letter, the report, the notice, the email, everything, you do not indent. So whenever you're writing a paragraph, your paragraphs always begin by the margin. I don't want you all indenting. And you must always skip lines between your paragraphs. This is the only difference between section B and section C and section D. So like in the argumentative essays, you have to indent. You don't have to skip lines between the paragraphs. For the short story as well, you have to indent at the beginning of the paragraph and you don't have to skip lines. Even for the summary, same thing, you have to indent and you don't have to skip lines if you're writing more than one paragraph. But the section B is the only difference. In section B, we do not indent, meaning that we always start by the margin. We don't put our finger and leave that little space there to show that we are beginning a paragraph. In section B, everything that falls under section B, we do not leave that little space, we do not indent, and we must skip lines between the paragraphs. Everybody understands that?
Yeah.
And then after you finish writing your notice, your signature goes here. After your signature, your name comes right below it. You don't skip lines. Your name comes right below it in block letters, of course. And then you put your designation. So I have a sample notice to the bottom, so you always see what I'm talking about, right? But this was just like a visual for you all to really understand like the layout and stuff. So when I reach down to the sample notice, you'll see what exactly I'm talking about. So a notice should include the 5 W's. So I did mention the 5 W's to you all when we were doing report writing. Under some of the reports, like the field trip reports, they mentioned the 5 W's. So if you want to know what am I to talk about in this 250 words, these are the things that you're going to talk about in the 200 to 250 words. The first thing is what is going to happen. So that is the event. So I must know what sort of event is taking place. Is it a field trip going on? Is the notice about a sale? So what exactly is happening? The event itself, you must always include that. The next thing is where it will take place. So place here means like the location. So if it's going to take place at a school, at an organization, if we're leaving the school's compound, if something is taking place at work, I need to know the place or the location. The next thing is when it will take place. So the when would be the date and the time. So remember, you're given factual information in section B, so you must always have the date of the event and you must also have the time. And even when you're writing a notice, I don't want the date in shorthand form, I want the date actually written out. Okay, this is what Lyndon was saying. Okay, so guys, Lyndon was saying that whenever the meeting cut off, I would just restart it again and we'll just go through the whole process again, right? So don't worry about that. So back to when it will take place, so that is the date and the time. So I must have the date written out in complete words. So like Monday, the 16th of March, 2020. And I must also have the time. So I don't want you to say, yeah, it'll take place at 2 p.m. So actually write out the number for me. So like if something is taking place at 3 in the afternoon, I want you to say 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But I know some of you all, you'll just write it shorthand. Shorthand is accepted, but I prefer if you all write it both ways. So I prefer if you all actually write all the words and then you can put in brackets the digital notation. That is for the time. The next thing is who can apply or who is eligible for it. So remember, it's a notice, you're notifying people about something. So you must also let them know who is your target audience. So who is this notice directed to, who's eligible for it and whatnot. And the next thing is whom to contact or apply to, that is the issuing authority. So remember in the end, when the partner says the designation, that will tell us who we can contact or apply to if we are interested in the notice. So the 5 W's, so what is going to happen, where, when, who, and whom, these are the 5 W's that you have to remember for your notice. The next thing is the content of the notice. So again, what would make up the 200 to 250 words? One thing to note is that only the most important points should be written. So sometimes, because we're seeing a word limit, we tend to overwrite or tend to put in details that are not factual in the notice. But remember, we are just stating the facts, and I want you all to just put only the important points, things that are relevant in the notice. Because the reality is, if you're given a notice, nobody wants to read a really long notice. We just want to see all the main points and all the essential information. The next thing is write any other detail given in the question. So remember, in the questions are very, very lengthy, and they would have a lot of details in the question. What I don't want to see is that you all disregard the information in the question and you will add in your own things. So for instance, if in the question they say that, write a notice about CTS College Secondary School having a chow sale on Friday, the 21st of March. I don't want you all to write that they're having a barbecue sale. The information didn't say that. They said they were having a chow sale. And they said it was Friday, the 21st of March. So I don't want you all to say that that is taking place on a different date. So whatever information is given, please write that information for me. Don't change the information that is given. The next thing is you are free to add any other relevant information not included in the question. So for example, the questions give us sufficient information, but we also want to, add something extra to the information to make up the 200 to 250 words. Because whatever is given in the question may not always be enough. So you are free to add any other relevant information. So you see the keyword here is relevant. I don't want you to add in extra information and you all are straying from what exactly is taking place. So for instance, let's go back to the chow example. If they give you the question about CTS having the chow sale and whatnot, maybe you all could include other relevant information like informing people of like the different types of chow. Maybe that wasn't listed in the question. They just said chow sale, but maybe you could elaborate a little more. And this is completely irrelevant to the question because they just said chow sale. Like maybe y'all could elaborate and actually list the different types of chow that will be on sale. You could even elaborate and say that, you know, that the persons who are responsible for creating the chow, they have their food badges and stuff. So, you know, other relevant information pertaining to the question, you could include that wasn't initially stated in the question. And the next thing, which is very important, is that your sentences should be short and grammatically accurate. I kind of stress for you all how it was really kind of hard when I was marking your midterm papers and see that you all just throw out everything you all learned with the usage rules, all the subject verb agreement rules. I don't know if it was because you all were writing very quickly and it was being timed and you all didn't have time to check over, but you all need to understand how important it is to write grammatically correct. Remember, at the end of the day, this is an English exam. Yes, we understand that you're being timed. Yes, we know that you're anxious, you're nervous, time running out, you're just trying to finish fast. But this is an English exam. We cannot give you marks if your English is not correct. So that's why you would lose marks for spelling. Yes, we know that you know you're writing really fast, but this is an English exam. We cannot give you marks for poor English or inaccurate English. So if your spelling is wrong, you have, yes, Denzel.
Mr. Logman.
Oh, sorry, I just saw a notification on my screen.
With regards to this notice, we have a plan for this. I know you have a plan for summary and the rest are argumentative and thing. You have a plan for this?
No, we don't have a plan for this. What you have to use is the like the content, what is required of you. That's exactly what you'll have to write first. But I can make up my own plan for you all to follow.
Because I think our plan might be easier. Because I know you said the question is lengthy, so I don't know if we had to summarize or take out topic sentences from the.
No, the notice won't have anything like topic sentences and stuff. It'll just be you presenting the factual information. So like it's the typical format for like the report. So like in the introduction, you just put the general information like the date, the time, and the location. And then in the body is when you actually elaborate on what is taking place. And well, then the closing will just be in this case the signature and the designation and whatnot.
All right, no problem. I understand.
Good. So the last point here with the grammatically accurate, just remember that I cannot give you anything correct if your grammar is not correct, if your spelling is not correct, and please, 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 please go and revise the usage rules, because if I see you making the errors, you would lose marks, of course, and the more errors that you have in the papers, the more marks that is going to be taken out. So just like the argumentative essay, the summary, the short story, your marks is going to be broken down into 3 different categories. Remember, this is out of 30 marks. You get 10 marks for organization and content. Then you get the next 10 marks for what you have in your body, if you have all the relevant and important information. And the final 10 marks, you get those last 10 marks just for grammar, spelling, vocabulary, and punctuation. So if you have a lot of grammar errors, a lot of spelling errors, a lot of punctuation errors, that's 10 marks already gone out of the 30. So just be sure to make sure that your sentences are very short, and short is very important. One issue that I saw in the midterm exam that I wanted to address with you all was that you all are writing really long sentences. So I remember telling you all that a sentence should not be beyond 3 lines. So like for instance, if you counted, it shouldn't be beyond 1, 2, 3 lines. Once you see in your actual paper, the sentence has crossed 3 lines, you must have some sort of punctuation there indicating that, you know, the sentence can be broken up into 2 different sentences. So that would be where you all would use the semicolon or the colon. But once your sentence crossed 3 lines, you need to have some sort of punctuation marks there. But for your notice, your sentences should not cross 3 lines. So just make sure I make a little note of that. That when you all are writing for this section, don't let your sentences cross 3 lines, right? Let it be beyond 3 lines. If it reaches the 3 lines, put a full stop and add something else. Because you all had really long sentences. I remember correcting some papers, and after reading an entire paragraph, and I mean a paragraph with like 7 lines, the paragraph only had like 1 full stop. And that is poor sentence structure and even grammatical and punctuation. Because how could you write one extremely long sentence and the sentence being 7 to 10 lines and there's no punctuation marks there? So you would definitely lose marks for that because that extremely long sentence, which turned out to be a paragraph, could have been divided into multiple sentences. So I'm seeing here that we have less than a minute. You all know the drill. When it cuts off, you'll just sign back in and we start back again, right? So I know that it's going to cut off just now. So let me just wait for it to cut off. And when we resume, we'll go back to the actual notice.
Miss,
Yes, Sanjay?
will we be doing one of these notices today?
You all would not be writing a notice today, but it'll be part of your homework.
Okay.
Miss, the actual notice you're talking about is about the Blooming Flowers School?
Yeah, that was the example.
Okay.